and that probably means that it's worse utility.
Yes, okay, so fair, but I think the thing with advertising is it's going.
This might be the greatest breakdown of a process I've ever heard anybody say on any podcast.
They get paid in the advertising slide. That's based on their ability to get paid for serving that ad, which is based on the conversion rate of the ad, which is based on the degree to which, theoretically, the degree to which it meets that particular user's needs and matches the keyword search and is generally clicked on and purchased, right? And so, a point taken, okay, I'm not going to go and, I personally do this, it's anecdotal, I'll just look at maybe above the fold, and I'll click, and I'll open a bunch of things, and I might read through the reviews. I don't.
Okay, so this is reputation capital, right?
The rankings of the ad, but even
anecdotal public evidence.
Do that. They just blindly clicked on the top thing. Well, the top thing is the thing that was ranked to be the best fit there, given the whole bunch of other.
The whole bunch of others essentially money, and that's the point. Is influence just a financial brand, or is it actual reputation? Meaning, does the influence of the theory being proposed, whatever it is, useful for anyone, in the sense that if it tells somebody to have a podcast to do this for, because it's describing my videosity idea.
I'll talk about the general strikes in Seattle and Winnipeg.
And with all its effects, social consequences carefully dramatized. Finnegan's Wake is a drama, it's a play. And the actors in the play are the media themselves. And with all its effects.
What I'm attempting to illustrate here is that you still have to leave the environment that you're doing your shopping in this case, Instagram, and you have to go to a website, which defeats the whole purpose.
Carefully dramatized, and the actors in the play are the media themselves. Finnegan's Wake is a drama, it's a play.
Marshall McLuhan, the director at the University of Toronto's Institute of Culture and Technology, whereas if he merely recognizes some
all this shit's super obvious and was thought of in 2016, 2017.
You are known to the bureaucracy by your data bank. They know all about you. They know more about any one of us than we will ever know. Because it's all like on that page. It's all there. Daily about us.
Rewards for future trips.
Wrong with the world, yes. Handed to me on a Winnipeg.
Has done a great deal of research into the question of audience participation in the electronic media, and he's achieved quite extraordinary insights into the way in which it determines the participational level of the audience. The tendency of the audience
first.
Actually, there's a lot of blah blah in this film.
I know.
as it becomes more and more participant, is to eliminate content in the ordinary sense. Just as in abstract painting, representational content tends to go out as the painting becomes more and more cartoon-like and abstract. This permits a very much higher degree of do-it-yourselfness and involvement on the part of the viewer. Demands that you do a great deal for himself.
Very important, and this is sort of an implicit metaphor, is the way that Finnegan wakes.
Michael Finnegan.
And by eliminating, you see,
depending on how much the individual is involved, they're actually also given pieces of the revenue.
Why didn't one of you think of this idea? It's the greatest goodwill policy I ever heard of.
Major changes that's come into the world with the electronic environment is that the audience becomes workforce.
Every shopper in New York City suddenly thinks of Macy as
and he gets a cut of every royalty that's sold, and this is now a quirky product that's sold at Home Depot. So that's a great example of co-innovation where crowds and companies are working together. Employees and customers start to look the same.
Thinking only of the welfare of the public.
Okay, start the song.
some at my store.
Just a minute. I have something I'd like to give our friend here. This is just a little something to show my appreciation for all you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Macy. Ooh, that's very kind of you. I didn't think you were that generous. That's a bit of money. What are you going to do with it? Well...
Terminé acá, pero fue por una buena causa. King!
What are you going to do with it? Well...
Terminé acá, pero fue por una buena causa.
It's very kind of you. I didn't think you were that generous. That's a bit of money. What are you going to do with it? Well...
Terminé acá, pero fue por una buena causa. King!
Send me back to Macy's. And what's more, we'll do the same thing in our stores in Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and Pittsburgh. I'll get to work on it right away. Imagine anything like that. I have a friend, a doctor. He's been very kind to me. He needs an X-ray machine.
TV is an X-ray machine. It's not pictures. It's pure X-ray. The effect on the inner life of people is fantastic. It's an inner trip. The X-ray generations since TV, completely different people from before TV. It has nothing to do with the programs they watch. It has to do with the profound experience of being X-rayed.
Oh, I don't think that's going to be enough. I'd better give you some...
I'll make up the difference.
Buy it through the store and get 10% discount.
I can get it for cost.
So this is surprising, but...
And previously known as many other names. It's describing the behavior of what I would call orbiting grits, meaning you see an object on a frame, you index it. I was calling that placing a grit on something, but someone wanted to change it, so I changed it. Pin, index, these are innocuous terms that nobody owns, like a steering wheel invention. So you have all these things, and you put a pin on it, and then you say attach a note to the pin that's on the thing. It says it's this, you buy it here. That's it. That's all it is. And so if you have and you can complete the transaction inside the environment you're in, you don't get redirected. Describes
right?
what I call the orbiting
this
grid
is where kind of the fungibility of the transaction fee and the advertising fee,
the orbiting grid,
right? If that totally parking fees or fulfillment fees or other types of fees that it has in its system. So we have to think of it all as all kind of standard that are relevant. For example, to a particular target going to yield a lot of utility for them. That's going to, and Amazon is kind of sitting in the middle of adjudicating. Oh, is this advertiser who's advertising? Are they actually relevant to this customer?
Yeah, I think it started with the terrible ad being served as opposed to the shitty terrible ad that's organic being better than the terrible ad.
You make a lot of implicit assumptions that like Amazon will not serve the truth.
But I do understand an automated ad may
unless it's super relevant, for example. But it's probably, there's some constraint. It's not going to serve you completely terrible ad. It's not going to try on purpose to do that. But it might serve you an ad that is worse than the best organic result, right? So, you know, what do we think about it at that point? Well, Amazon needs a way to make money, and they have different channels, different tools for making money. One of them is kind of the transaction fee, but another one of them is advertising. So we also have to consider that entire dynamic as well. So by generating revenue from advertising, Amazon, that might allow Amazon to potentially have lower transaction fees or fulfillment fees or other types of fees that it has in its system. So we have to think of it all as all kind of tied up in one big bundle of stuff.
Do you think it's the case that so like Amazon's preference here would be that the product that would have chosen
polls are at a premium in this
just
particular
on like an organic basis also is being advertised by that advertiser,
really?
And so they can say, hey, everyone gets what they want, everyone wins here because we're not having to make any sort of sacrifice with the rankings, but also we're getting paid. And we would have chosen that. I guess everyone wins but the advertiser,
like,
in a sense, but they also get the certainty of being there.
Like, here's a bike.
So it's not quite that simple because you have to think about it.
I mean,
if that advertiser
can you complete a
is
sentence is
paying
the bigger question.
to advertise, then presumably some of that
It's just like,
is going to get passed through the cost.
It's too nice a day not to bike, but
this is
I guess
where
it's nice
kind of the
polls-
fungibility of the
polls are
transaction
challenging.
fee and the advertising.
And is there glass?
This is where kind of
all the wonders.
the
of an
fungibility of the
authentic
transaction fee and the
tale
advertising fee comes into play, right?
of
If
blocking
that
the bike.
total amount is always going to be held constant, then you're right. If this allows Amazon kind of to extract extra revenue from these very good sellers, surely those sellers are going to pass some of that through to the customer, which in the long run might
That's
make
like a
it worse.
condominium.
Right, which is and that's a good point. That's also probably more. I mean, that's probably realistic for like a physical good, right? Because there's a cost of production plus with a digital good though, and this because the App Store, and this maybe going off topic here, but like the App Store has the branded search as well, and an argument I made in the past is like, well, okay, yes, you have to pay for that, but you basically it's the cost of marginal production for a digital product is zero. I mean, the App Store just replicates my product infinitely, or it could replicate it infinitely to no cost to me. And so if I could just bake that into the economics of the acquisition cost, I'd pretty much just eat that. Because it wouldn't make sense for me to increase my prices because I set my prices to be optimal on the basis of adoption, right? So I'm just going to eat in a margin with that kind of advertising. But if there's a cost of production, like a T-shirt or something, well then there's a minimum to what I can charge. I can get away with charging, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is more of an issue with kind of physical good business models where
on meme coins, I don't really get or understand why a lot of people are mad or upset about what's happening with meme coins, so I figured I would try to just give my own point of view. Crypto and blockchains are exciting to me for a lot of reasons, but I will say a few of those reasons do come down to permissionlessness and the ability to do or build whatever you want. One of the exciting things to me really has been around a lot of the communities that are formed around crypto native technologies. So for me, Developer DAO and a lot of the early DAOs were really, really instrumental to me getting truly excited and passionate about this space. And I feel in a similar spirit, there's a lot of that happening within these meme coin communities. It's not just about speculation or investment. There are also a lot of things happening where people are bonding and meeting people and creating groups and communities, and that's kind of a good thing.
I was thinking about Amazon. With the App Store, yeah, it's a little bit different. I think a lot of the discussion of App Store kind of conduct just really boils down, in my opinion, to like, what does Apple deserve to get? What share?
This trajectory update about Google's Play Store remedies, the injunction, and the power of network effects was published on Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. Good morning. Due to a total brain fart by me, I've explained this correctly in the past. My explanation of the effects of the App Store, combined with U.S. antitrust precedent, meant there really wasn't a feasible way to change the App Store from the outside. The only real hope was to convince Apple and Google that they should operate differently. I concluded 2021's App Store arguments thus, quote, what I wish would happen, and yes, I know this is naive and stupid and probably foolish.
Yeah, he's about to describe the Santa from Miracle on the 34th Street, or the Santa from Macy's, where Google is obviously Macy's here, because they are literally telling people the answer to their questions about the items that they want. So Google is Macy's, and what Ben is saying is that they need to behave more like the Mr. Macy in Miracle on 34th Street with regard to Kris Kringle, played by Edmund Gwynn, and the other guy, I give his name and picture because I referenced him before.
Is that Apple would just give the slightest bit of ground. Yes, the company has the right to earn a profit from its IP, and yes, it created the market that developers want to take advantage of. And yes, the new generation of creators experimenting with new kinds of monetization only makes sense in an